Oi, look out, you knob.
You've been activated. Blink twice if you need backup.
At your location.
Investigating. Doing a sweep of the premises. Control, we are unsighted of suspects. Over. Terminating pursuit and coming back.
Nibbling away on the rotting carcass of a once free Britain.
Yum, yum.
Hello, Resistance fans. You're listening to the Punk Podcast, the objective voice of objection for this most objectionable
Search the area! Someone's hacked this vehicle!
Name, so good luck finding me, Monsieur Bloom. My real name is, in fact, Andrew, and I live in, note this down, a deluded pseudo-reality of my own making, which is, in fact, the most densely populated place on Earth these days. Overcrowded, some might say. Joining me, as always, my next-door neighbour in these Netherlands of nonsense. It's Alice.
Yes, indeed, it is Alice. Alice, who the bleep is Alice? I am not going to tell you that, but you can just sort of sense it from the timbre of my voice.
Let's spin the wheel and find out where we're getting today's news from. It's coming from here. I must get a new wheel with at least one other place on it. And the headline today, Alice, our borders are safe. We can all sleep easy in our well-bordered beds. 4,000 illegals were deported last month. These illegal people breaking the law just by existing. And of course, illegality is contagious. It can osmose through your skin just by standing next to an illegal person. So we've got rid of 4,000 of them. My question for you, Alice, is why only 4,000? Is that really enough? I will not feel safe until at least another 75 million people have been deported from this country, and I'm here in Britain on my own.
As a bleeding heart lefty, Andy, I would normally be outraged about this, but really I think mass deportation is a very handy way to break up with a partner. I'm sorry, baby, I love you, but an anonymous source has reported you for snoring really loudly in a French way.
So everyone out, no exceptions. Alice, not even you. It's for the good of the country. Everyone out, unless you can prove that your family are in the background of the Bayeux Tapestry cheering on King Harold at the Battle of Hastings in 1066. Get out. Actually, that's not British enough. Unless you can show, unarguably, that your direct bloodline is untainted by anything since before the Romans. Actually, unless your direct ancestor was personally responsible for building Stonehenge, get out of my country. I guess when you look at it, you know, the best ways to stop immigration, apart from obviously the end of the world, to make the place you want to stop people coming to as unpleasant as possible. So,
well, we absolutely are doing that.
Yeah, fair play to the government for helping us with that. Another option: extend the White Cliffs of Dover. They've been resting on their laurels for too long. Very inefficient, it turns out, as a means of stopping immigration. We need to extend them by about another 11,000 miles, a full wrap around Great Britain, and they could do it being about a kilometre and a half higher as well, with a special greasy coating to stop people clambering over the top or however they get in. Here's a quick joke for you, Alice. Did you hear the one about the woman who went into the immigration processing centre and was never seen again?
No, Andy, I didn't hear that one.
Boom. Set up, punchline. For those of you unfamiliar with it, the immigration processing centre is, of course, where so many of our guests to Britain go for a longer than desirable game of involuntary hide and seek. You are listening to The Bar. I will conclude by saying, out of all the things wrong with Britain today, I think immigration is right up there, Alice. When you think of all the health professionals we've stolen from overseas over the years here in Britain, it's quite possible that all these people are just coming here to try to get an appointment with their local doctor.
Yes, Andy, certainly someone who came from the expanded arm of the empire when Britain was still reaching out rather than folding in on itself. Most of us just come here to visit our stuff in the museums.
It's the British way.
Speaking of international movement, Britain has recalled all European ambassadors after a spy scandal. I think this is probably a good thing, because British foreign politicians are always putting their foot in their mouths. How much worse can they do if they're not there? I mean, by definition, the fact that there's a spy scandal means that they were terrible spies. The point of spies is that there's never a spy scandal.
Yeah, but let's give credit to all the spies that haven't been in scandals and therefore might as well not exist.
Well, they've arrested those German spies in that SIRS crackdown on the illegals in Hackney, and I think that's a sad thing. I think I used to think of Germans as quite scary, but that was because I've been watching World War II movies where the Germans all have English accents. They speak in that very, precise way. It's very, we have ways of making you talk. And now Germans all have that American accent, where it's all like, oh, welcome to the party. We're having a really nice time. They're much friendlier Germans. Let them stay.
Well, that's all today, Bugsters. Remember, it's not as bad as it seems. Honestly. I hope. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Cream and spice and all things nice. That's what little treats are made of. Sanjoli's Kitchen, voted best tikka masala in London.
You're listening to The Bug.
May cause nausea, vomiting and headaches. You're listening to The Bug, the Resistance comedy show brought to you by the Buccaneer Network. I'm Andy, joining me, as always, Alice.
I'm excited to be here. Apparently, the Resistance is not going well.
Again. Well, there has been some news about DedSec, the resistance and or terrorist organisation, delete according to preference. Not preference, sorry, delete according to whether or not you work for the government, SIRS, including the Kellys or Albion. According to a SIRS official, DedSec is no longer a threat, which I guess is true in that it was never a threat in the first place. Reminds me of when my great aunt Gladys had her appendix out. Oh, Andy, that surgeon's a real threat, waggling that knife at me, trying to knock me out. What they call a scalpel and an anaesthetic, Gladys. Anyway, if SIRS officials said DedSec is dead and buried, I guess we have to assume that DedSec's never been stronger. But I do worry, Alice. When sometimes I think, is there any hope? Do you still have hope?
I don't think I'm allowed to have hope. We're living in the self-selected, algorithmically designated information equivalent of a propaganda state. And every resistance that I've ever seen is weaker than the British pound. I feel like hope is an expensive thing to buy these days.
totally pointless, but it can feel pointless. And again, I've spent almost all of my life doing pointless things like watching sport, thinking about sport, thinking about watching sport, learning French and hoping for a better future. All completely pointless. But yeah, I've done them, so we might as well carry on. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Yes, I think there is. Unfortunately, what is that light? Is it an oncoming train? Well, no, it couldn't be. Obviously, the train would be late or cancelled. Is the light at the end of the tunnel burning effigy, the concept of hope? Quite possibly. Is it the soul of Sky Lost imploding into its own vacuum? Well, is it the ego of Nigel Cass that is now so big that it's sucked all the light in the universe into itself? I think that is most likely. Is that, but we'll never give up both facts. This resistance will never die. And one day, we will again be free. Free from these technological chains, free to choose our own futures, free to live our own lives, free to waste our time watching people bake cakes and dance badly again. Those were the days. Before we go, time for a quick bug off. I'm going to nominate this week Sky Larson here at the Bug. We are all in favour of strong, powerful women. And in many ways, Sky is the ultimate feminist life, proving that women can do just as abominably awful things to this planet as men. I mean, overall, Alex, I think we're still ahead as men, but you're not catching up. You are listening to The Bug.
Tick-tock, tick-tock, time is ticking. It's time to give the electorate a good old kicking.
Singing in the Rain meets A Clockwork Orange in this savage analysis of the British political class.
This cabinet, built of English oak. Only upper-class voices were the ones that spoke.
Get a ticket, steal a ticket, break down the fire exit door, just get to see this show. Broken Dreams, the political musical of the decade. Book your seat at the Verity Theatre now.
This is London Calling. You're listening to Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want to know. With me, Tash. It's hard to believe that there could be shortages of food and medicine in an advanced country like ours, and yet here we are. Those old government promises of adequate food turned out to be just a myth. Today we're short of basic foodstuffs and vital medical supplies. Hundreds have already died of conditions that can be easily cured. The black market means that criminal gangs like Clan Kelly run our cities. And Prime Minister Deborah isn't even around to pretend to care. How do we go from a consumer paradise to a place of empty shelves fighting for supplies? What turns a land of plenty into a wild west of hoarding, food banks and black market barons? We protect everyone who comes on this podcast by keeping their identities a secret. Here's veteran political reporter Ian on the power behind shortages.
I mean, what was the first thing that happened when Britain sealed itself off? The first stuff that stopped from coming in was fresh food. I mean, we could live without the fresh food. I mean, everyone's quality of life got instantly worse, but we could live without it. The most damaging part was when the radioactive isotopes stopped coming in. Now, radioactive isotopes, that's what we use in cancer screening, cancer treatment. Now, that stuff, it has a short half-life. Technetium used to save hundreds of thousands of lives just by screening for cancer, let alone testing for cancer. But that stuff has a half-life of 66 hours. As soon as those walls went up, there was just no time to bring it into the country, and that is when people started dying. And then the medicines. The thing is, there's loads of medicines that you just can't stockpile. There was a moment before it took place when actually there was some effort to try and stockpile some of the medicines. There was some things that could be done. For a lot of it, there was we had a major problem with drugs of schizophrenia. So we saw such an uptick in the kind of attacks that you saw in the street and people suffering on their own because they didn't have mental health drugs, because those drugs simply couldn't be stockpiled. We eventually found the same thing with foods that weren't produced in the UK. And the trouble with the UK was we don't produce our own food. We never have. For hundreds of years, we produced under half of our own food. So as soon as those walls went up, we started having significant material problems in the country. In Britain always told itself they had this national myth, right, that it would, because it got through the war, that it could go through any kind of hardship. I mean, that wasn't really the case.
This has been compromised. Be on the lookout for a hacker.
That some of this historical stuff makes out. Now, what did we see? People don't want to go through that stuff. They were desperate for the things that they had before, and they were scared. So they went to the black market. The same thing that always happens. And where did the growth of Clan Kelly come from? It came from people wanting things that they could previously get legitimately and could now only get through the black market, funneling funds towards criminality. And from there, we got to the situation we have now of this physical war between criminals and security that seems to dominate what's going on out there on the streets.
Nothing shakes people's faith in capitalism quite as much as when capitalism fails to deliver. Here's underground writer and analyst Alfie to the politics of policy.
I think what we've come to now is a realisation that capitalism's essentially failed. I mean, the one key promise of capitalism that it makes to its citizens is that there will be surplus, that we will have plenty, and that's the whole logic for running society in this way, that people will have enough. And now, with this kind of huge shortages of everything, you're seeing that system collapse. It hasn't delivered on its primary promise. And I think we've really reached a situation where we've had to do away with capitalism entirely. We're seeing a situation where there's shortages for the many, but for a few individuals, there's an elite who are not struggling and short of anything. So this is kind of fundamental inequality of a capitalist system, which is no longer producing the goods for most of us. Shortages are being used as well. I'm not saying that there isn't a real shortage. There possibly is real shortages, but shortages are being used as an excuse for those in power, those elites, to keep what they want and not give to the rest of us what we need. So the excuse that there's simply not enough to go around is a justification for maintaining a kind of power of the 1% and leaving the rest of us short.
So if you're starving hungry tonight, if your parents can't get their medicine and your brothers and sisters have to steal to eat, remember, it's all for the good of our people. Or Canada, or somewhere, just not us. But that's going to change. You've been listening to Buccaneer and Tash. Keep spreading the word and keep sharing the podcast. There's enough of everything out there for all of us. We just need the guts to take it back.
While food contaminations happen from time to time, London has seen a sharp rise in E. coli, salmonella and listeria in recent years, and many are pointing to government cutbacks in food standards monitoring. Join GBB tonight to learn more.
You're listening to The Bug.
May cause nausea, vomiting and headaches. Hello Britain, this is The Bug, the show that holds up a mirror to the world and smashes itself in the head with it in despair. I'm Andy, joining me, as always, Alice, and...
I deny everything.
It's just a good state of existence. Some good news, at last. There are no medicine shortages, according to the government. None at all. There have been various allegations about that. It turns out they are all fake news. Trademark. There are none. There are no shortages of medicine. Don't take it from me. I'm not a medical supply expert. Take it from our beloved government. It's fine. In fact, I'm going to read between the lines here. Actually, so there's probably... There's too much medicine, if anything. Just medicines. You can't move for medicine. In fact, just this morning, I tried to pour some cornflakes into a bowl for breakfast and out-tumbled a 12-month course of immunosuppressants, corticosteroids, and anti-retrofrontal dilatory estrogen spermatotropic fruit pastilles.
The people claiming there are medical shortages are probably high on lots of medicine that they've been given. I for one believe that there are no medical shortages, Andy. Just last week I went in with a broken arm and they suggested it might just be extreme period pain and prescribed me a drink of water and an astrology chart.
I can't be too far away from them just prescribing the upper lip.
My uncle had a leg removed due to diabetes. They halved his insulin because they said there was less of him to be diabetic.
So, anyway, people, don't believe what you read or hear about there not being enough medical drugs to go around. It's not true. It's hospital hogwash, it's pharmaceutical flim-flam, it's medical mendacity, it's Hippocratic humbug, it's nonsensical narcotic nincompoop. I think I've made the point. Do not believe the news telling you that we've run out of medicine, nor should you believe the empty shelves at the chemists. They're also lying. Do not believe your doctor saying, sorry, we're fresh out of that, you're going to have to eat a carrot and pretend. Do not believe your own cobweb-ridden medicine cabinet at home. It might look empty, but it's not, for it contains the only medicine any of us truly need. Stirring music, please, producer Chris. Freedom. The medicine of British freedom. And the analgesic knowledge that however ill you may be, Bloom are keeping an eye on things for you.
I'm investing heavily in the placebo effect right now. You're listening
Find out who is controlling that thing
Obviously,
now!
I don't entirely mean that, because what is the first rule of the third millennium? If someone in power tells you something is fake news, what is it? Correct. A 110% cast iron, tungsten-coated, granite-scented, cosmically immutable, scientifically unarguable fact. But surely, Alice, the more important question for all these medicine freaks whinging on about feeling a bit poorly or having a fatal but curable illness and slowly dying unnecessarily is this. Do we actually need medicine? If you today got diagnosed with a potentially fatal illness, would you not look around at the nation that we've become and think, hey doc, put your life-saving treatment down, I'm going to take this free one-way bus out of here. Now hold that pillow over my face until the twitching stops.
I just don't think we should think of it in such a negative way. Don't think of it as a medicine diet, Annie. Think of it as a series of healthy lifestyle swaps. Swap out anti-inflammatories for antacids. Swap out the iron lung for the aluminium lung. Swap out MRI machines for Mary machines, which is just a lady called Mary telling you you're fine.
Obviously, critical shortages are as much part of our daily lives, our society and our culture today as things like football, music and complaining about the weather used to be in the old days. And, well, food shortages, yeah, we just learn to live with them, don't we? And there's a lot of positives as well with all these food shortages. I mean, we were eating too much anyway. As a nation, the government's just helping us live healthier lifestyles. It's so hard to diet on your own. You need the support of a friend, or a loved one, or a government, or collapsing social infrastructure. Positive too, meat, very bad for the environment. So we're actually rebuilding the polar ice caps every time we eat a scrap of lettuce. Positive three, the human race had already cooked all the recipes it needed. There was nothing more to be done with food. We've done that, we can tick it off, we've done it. I was born with food anyway, I've been eating it all my life. If you've been doing the same thing 3 times a day, 4, sometimes 7, or even 8 times a day, you're bound to get bored of it. And also, final positive, no more meal times, freeing up all that extra time for appreciating all the selfless hard work that Albion do to keep us all safe.
Well, as you say, Andy, people are drawn to novelty, and everyone's had breakfast once. Why you got to keep having it again and again?
Boring, repetitive. There's enough of that in life as it is. You are listening to The Bar. Well, another story that has come to the fore recently is that all European imports have been banned for public health reasons, which is great news. I mean, at least we can get ill-eating, good, home-produced, locally sourced, British, industrially unsafe food. That's something we can all cling to. Public health reasons, those are curious words. Alice, I don't know, is that in case the public gets too healthy eating all that Mediterranean mutton? It's a British food for British tummies. Spelt, nettles, rabbit. That's all we need. That's all we need in the glory days. Everyone round to Nigel for dinner.
Who needs Italian olives when you can eat pickled rubber bands in a soup of regret? Who needs nice cheese when you can eat a lukewarm, unspecified rat meat pie with 0 spices?
Sand, nettles, and bits of dead fox. That's all we needed to eat in the glory days. Let's make Britain great again. That's all from the Bug today. Good night, sleep tight, and make sure the bed bugs do.
London. Pretty much my favourite topic. I could talk for hours about the rise of the AI system. It's easy to forget about its origins. It's so present everywhere we go now. Bagley just kind of blends into the background.
Bagley is the service AI that's present in every Optic device. Whether you're using the Optic, Bagley will be there. The AI is streamed to your Optic from Bloom's Central Command Center, and it was first created by Sky Larson, our tech hero, as part of her techno-utopian idea for the world. Why do you think it grew so quickly?
In my mind, it's no surprise that Bagley became so popular. It's funny, useful, fast. It's a great companion and really just makes life so much easier. I mean, when you look back at all the service AIs that used to exist, they just can't compete. When you ask Bagley anything, there's a quick answer and loads of information available to you. One day, I let Bagley answer all of my messages for a whole 24 hours and no one even noticed the difference.
The other competitors really just couldn't compete with Bagley. Their answers were so much worse, they didn't understand anything, and Bagley pretty much gets everything right first time. Do you have any idea why Bagley really beat all the competition?
Well, it's really the data, isn't it? Ever since Broker hooked up with Bloom, that's when things changed.
And really, that's not actually that great. Bloom has data on everybody. They collect information about everything you're doing across the web through your Optic headset. Isn't the AI only good because of Bloom's surveillance?
Well, I suppose so, but I'd prefer not to talk about that side of things. Bagley is so special because it's been trained on this huge cache of information. That's how these AI systems work, or at least used to work. I mean, we don't really know that much about the latest version because there's so much secrecy around the tech. But they're given this huge amount of training data. It's basically a huge database that's used to teach the AI about patterns in behaviour. You know, so if you always travel the same way to your house, it can predict when you're going to go and get a self-driving car ready for you before you even ask for it.
That's pretty terrifying. In some ways, I don't want this data to drive my life. It understands too much at times. Have you heard some of the rumours around the hacked version of Bagley?
I've heard mutterings, yes.
I've heard it's been used by DedSec.
I wouldn't put it past them. It's pretty well known that they're not fans of Bloom. But the idea of a souped-up version of Bagley, given it's already so intelligent, is a bit terrifying.
I wonder what they could actually make it do.
It's recipes I learn at home. Recipes I cook at home. Recipes that make Salt Cray a home to everyone. Salt Cray, Caribbean food, the Caribbean way. Cryptocurrency accepted.
The bug, nibbling away on the rotting carcass of a once free Britain.
Yum, yum.
Hello, Bugs. This is the Bug. I'm Andy. This is Alice, and today we're going to be pretending that everything is fine. Yeah, and back. Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? That was as long as I could manage. A second and a half. A reality time now, however. And, well, finally today, we're going to road test the latest update to the CSA app, the government app that has brought the great British tradition of snitching on people you don't like back to the heart of public life. Formerly known as the prison service. What was the slogan? Is it, if you see something, say something, or if you think you might at some point see something, say something, or if you haven't seen anything but don't like someone, say something anyway. Well, let's have a look at this new app. Alice, I'm sure you've got it on your phone. I mean, at first glance, well, the interface is lovely. It's so neatly designed. A simple button to snitch on someone. That's so much better than non-government informer apps like Stool Easy, Can Harry, or Narc Shark. I mean, look, I just need to geocache where the person I'm ratting on currently is. Let's call her for the sake of argument. Shut up!
Need assistance?
Now
You want to fight, huh? Let's go, man. Here we go. Let's get out of the way before you get us. You trying to get killed?
All units, I say again, all units, we have reports of a hostile in your area. Over.
Received. Moving in hostile's direction.
I have some evidence for you.
Suspect has exited the vehicle. Over.
An Albion vehicle in the street yesterday. She says she prefers pigeons to bloom drones. I mean, come on, seriously, where did the drone get that one? And what's more, and look, I've no idea if this is true or not, but I have it on very good authority, so please write this down, that she owns not one, but two unlicensed fallopian tubes, whatever they are. But they sound dodgy.
If I had a crypto for every time someone had reported my fallopian tubes...
Anyone have visual? Anyone?
Sure, I think it converts to about 120,000 Great British pounds in the old money.
We'll report back in the next episode about whether or not we've been arrested and interned. I mean, I love this system, Alice. I mean, no more awkward rumbling
Received. Returning to HQ. Over.
What the heck? In for a penny, your family. You just docked them in. This is the bug on the Buccaneer.
The bug.
Well, before we go today, Alice, let's delve into what we most miss about the old days. I'm going to kick off with the flag. I never thought I'd miss the old Union Jack, but somehow our new flag managed to be even more irritating than that. I don't know quite what it is, if it's the new colour scheme, or if it's just that it symbolises the loss of everything we once held dear. But that flag irritates the hell out of me.
Was everything you ever held dear Scotland?
Well, that was something I held quite dear.
I miss being able to dodge my friends' destination weddings in Italy. There's nothing worse than being asked to spend the equivalent of a motorbike on some boat-based farce in Sorrento, and I always used to really enjoy saying, oh no, I can't afford it. Now they're all getting married in Brighton, and I have to go to that alleged beach. It's made of rocks, Andy. If your sandcastle is an actual castle, that's not a beach.
Tell you what I miss free will. That was fun. Remember that? I mean, was it an illusion all the time? Who cares? It felt fun. I miss cash, particularly coins. I really miss coins. The fun of doing a heads or tails best of 5 to see if you had to go to the gym, and then a best of 7 and a best of 9 and particularly one. That was a losing streak. Now with crypto, all the romance has gone out of heads and tails.
I miss romance, Andy. I miss there being mystery in life and not just a hope that your new partner isn't good enough at hacking to find out all the information the government has on you.
Bye for now, bug fans. Keep feeding the kid in the resistance, and one day it will grow into a Tyrannosaurus Rex that will use the Cass family as toothpicks. Metaphorically, of course.
Welcome back to The Upload. Today we're talking about cryptocurrency. Crypto now seems like it's been around forever, but it's really quite a new invention. Were you an early adopter?
I was one of the first that was in this market. There seemed to be a new way of financial...
Central to cryptocurrency is the distributed ledger technology, the tech that keeps track of all transactions. And what this means is you can have a decentralized system without having to trust any one party, like old-fashioned banks.
One of the reasons why I got involved so early was that you could stay anonymous.
Yeah, the features of cryptocurrency very much fit into that early mindset. It was all about finding an alternative to centralized systems. It was kind of a countercultural punk ethos. The whole point of the distributed ledger is you're not trusting any one person to keep a track of who has what money or how they're spending it. It's all out there in the open for anyone to see, and yet you can remain secretive.
But not everybody now wants to keep up this crypto legacy. They don't share this attitude anymore. We've seen institutions, businesses, even governments experimenting with crypto, which doesn't really fit into its original radical counterculture mold.
Yeah, it's kind of weird today to think of people not using cryptocurrency. It's so mainstream now. You know, I'm almost nostalgic for the feel of cash. Good old-fashioned paper and coins. First they changed the paper notes to plastic notes, and now it's just all digital. There's nothing to hold on to.
It was great just to be able to have a little bit of money to carry around with you.
I think the turning point in the UK really came a few years ago when the pound dropped 10% over just one season. People living off grid started using crypto, and just as everyone was losing faith in kind of the opposite to what people thought in the beginning.
And then, of course, there was the recession. It didn't take long for startups to see an opportunity in this new way of doing finance. A lot of traditional money was converted to crypto, and it really shook up the financial sector.
Can you remember when they first introduced crypto cash points?
That was really sneaky. It was a classic startup behaviour. They just installed them everywhere. No consultation with the government, no approval or anything. But people immediately started to use them.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of how Bloom put out the Optic. They just made it free and flooded the streets with these devices. Suddenly everyone had them.
If there's this great option of tech, people are just going to start using it, no matter the cost.
Parliament actually tried to put a stop to the cash points, but people were using them so much already. There was outrage. I mean, some parts of London were already using crypto as their primary currency by then.
And now, apparently, or at least in theory, crypto is illegal.
Yeah, in May this year, economists found that crypto was being traded more than the pound, and banks were not happy. They basically forced the government to ban cryptocurrency in a last-ditch effort to save the pound.
But it's not like that's worked. People are still using crypto, and it's been pushed further, deeper underground. Things used to work fine with crypto, and it was just a peer-to-peer sharing economy-style system. Now it's all on the dark web and wrapped up again in organised crime.
Yeah, if you want to make something thrive on the black market, just make it illegal.
Life expectancy in the UK continued its fall, reaching its lowest point in 20 years, according to an Office for National Statistics report. Join GBB for an analysis of this distressing trend.
To today's episode of The Upload. We're talking about the Optic and how it's changed our lives. Now, as you remember, Bloom announced a new version of the Optic at the recent Tone conference, but we haven't heard too much about that since due to the dramatic events there. Let's cast our minds back and consider the technology. I mean, the Optic changed everything. It lets you see things in AR. You no longer need a smartphone. You just have a small implant that sends signals to your optic nerve and lets you see your emails, take calls, and browse the internet directly as if the screen was in front of your eyes. Instead of having to carry around a phone, you've just got the small handheld unit. So much lighter and so much more convenient. It's great.
Vicky, you sound like you absolutely love the Optic. Do you actually think that it's made our lives any better?
I mean, sure, it's definitely made things a lot easier. It's so simple to call someone now. All you have to do is choose who you want to chat to, and they're there, ready to talk. And browsing the web is so much easier. I remember when you used to have to sit down at a computer with an actual keyboard and mouse and type everything out. And my favourite feature is public transport. With the Optic, you can just walk straight onto the tube. It even acts as a passport. No longer do I have to dig around and try and find my old paper passport just to travel somewhere. Also, I thought that Optic's marketing strategy, making it free for people, was a stroke of genius.
Genius. Bloom was really calculated when it was doing that. It was pushing this draconian device on us at all. Sure, everybody flocked to it. There was free Wi-Fi and phone plans. That definitely helped, but it wasn't a case of this is products that you need in your life.
Why do you hate it so much?
It's just the worst because you have to give up your privacy expectations and accept surveillance. It was almost like the government and Bloom didn't even need to make the Optic mandatory. Making it mandatory was only to get the last hold. If predated information,
possible suspect or suspects reported near your location.
What do you mean by privacy problems? No one really talks about
because you don't have any choice when it comes to the Optic. Yes, it's convenient and mandatory, but everybody's forgotten what it really means. Here, you've got a whole company owning basically all the data about your life. Bloom can see everything that you can see. Nothing is private anymore. There are so many times where I don't want anyone to have a clue about where I am, who who I'm chatting with, what I'm doing. It's not even dodgy stuff, but I just don't want anybody to blackmail with me with this in the future by hacking it. And because of Bloom's contracts with the government, it isn't just Bloom that can see everything I do, it's the government. The UK as a state has become a complete surveillance paradise.
I think you're painting a bit of a bleak picture. It's not all that bad.
No, you're completely wrong.
Negative.
I don't
Suspect is
want
gone.
anybody tracking me
Issue an
wherever I'm
APW.
going around London.
Well, in that case, you might be interested in some rumours I heard. Did you hear that some DedSec hackers have found a way to bypass the optics connection with Bloom?
Are they actually making it better or usable or actually friendly for anybody?
Well, word on the street is that they've been able to create an encrypted signal, which means that your world might have a chance of becoming a bit more private again. So you can go back and enjoy all the great things about Optic without that fear of surveillance.
With the Optic, privacy's dead.
This is London Calling. You're here with me, Tash, from Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want to hear. In today's world, we've all had to get used to every move being tracked by the optic on our temples, by the cameras around us, and with every clip we make online. Seems like everything we do feeds the big data beast. Why are data giants like Bloom so hungry to hold our private information and our metadata? What are they using it for? Will we ever have real private lives again? What is privacy in the digital world? And what happens when capitalism and surveillance become one? As you know, we keep bringing it confidential. Speaking from a secure location, here's new technology strategist Charles, who worked all over the world trying to keep democracy strong in the face of the data assault.
If you have enough personal data on somebody, you're able to predict what it is that they're going to do. You can tell what they might be passionate about, but mostly you can tell what they fear. And if you can tell what someone fears, then you can manipulate them and you can move them in particular directions. Data is collected on citizens in every possible way. Data is collected through surveillance cameras. Data is collected from television sets. They don't even necessarily need to be super smart television sets. Data is collected from voter records. It's collected from how much power do you use in your house and how much water do you use in your house. In pre-crisis Britain, we got really used to all of our services being free. Everything suddenly became free that was digital. But what people forgot is that if you're not paying for it, then you're the product being sold.
If technology brings out the worst in capitalism, capitalism brings out the worst in technology. Senior academic Alfie tells us how big business repurposes big data.
Historically, what's happened, of course, is that people have traded their privacy for their convenience as smartphones and other kinds of technology came in and became mass-consumed, mass-used items and technological objects. Gradually, people were so attracted to the affordances of these technologies that privacy kind of retreated into the background and into a state we've got now where it's essentially gone. Having this access to this data makes huge tech companies like Bloom so much more powerful than they would be otherwise, and not just in the obvious ways. Of course, there's a lot of worry and fear over what they can do with the data. They can track anyone, find anyone, see what every individual is doing at any point in time. But I think there's even deeper reasons why this data empowers these huge companies to control our society and make us do things. So lots of predictive technologies which are implemented by these tech giants. It's not only interested in but influencing the patterns of our movement. So technologies might suggest routes to use in the city, places to go, restaurants to go to, cafes to go to, music to listen to. And these suggestions are not just predicting what we might like to do, they're actually influencing the way citizens move, think, eat, meet, and use their city as a space. So London has become a place where a small group of surveillance capitalist companies like Bloom can control the movements of individuals and orchestrate the way they move around their city and the way they essentially live, the things they do, the things they enjoy and the life they lead. So we're really kind of outsourcing our decision making, I would say, to a huge corporate capitalist company, and so it's very scary. indeed. All these technologies can be used to not only influence us to act as the perfect consumer, but also to prevent us from doing radical and revolutionary things. So technologies in foreign nations that have been used are things like heat map features which show where populations are gathering. In-game rewards can be offered to people to take different routes, things like that. Traffic data can be manipulated to prevent people gathering and protesting, as has happened in some of the authoritarian regimes across the world recently. So what we're looking at is not only a set of technologies which make people behave as ideal consumers, but ones which actually can be put to use to prevent radical and disruptive behaviour in the city, which limits the power of any kind of revolutionary force.
So, if you thought you had a private life, get used to it. And we're not going to reclaim our lives without a fight. I'm Tash, and you've been listening to Buckingham, keeping the resistance informed. Keep listening, keep fighting, and remember, nobody owns you but you.
Albion, a legend, a truth, a reality. From the strength of King Arthur to the cunning and fairness of Robin Hood, this Green Isle has long told stories of those who stand for justice, whose strength protects those in need. The time of legends is past, but the values remain. Albion, great British values, great British security.
You're listening to The Bug.
Nibbling away on the rotting carcass of a once free Britain. Hello, resistors, this is The Bug, keeping the fire of hope alive in the vacuum of today's Britain. Okay, fires don't burn in vacuums. It's a little novelty Christmas light, shaped like a flame, but it's something. It is something to cling to. Joining me, as always, is Alice. And Alice, hold the front page. Technology apparently is here to stay. There's no way around that now. Much as I'd like to go back to the 18th century and see if we can have another crack at the Industrial Revolution and get it less wrong this time. But new tech is creating 4,000 jobs. Count them all, 4,000 new jobs. Thanks to this new tech investment.
I mean, that's a very exciting thing if you're someone who wants to work in the tech sector, but I can only assume that this tech investment has created 4,000 jobs that will immediately be taken by robots.
Even if they're not, they'll be jobs that no one in their right, sane mind would actually want to do, but that's the price of progress, I guess. And we have to embrace the way technology is taking over everything, because maybe this is a ray of hope for us in this darkened universe. That technology will, in fact, render us all obsolete. And we won't need humans at all, because look at the bad things that are happening now. What is the common denominator behind all of them?
I don't know, Andy, tell me.
All the bad things that are happening now, all the bad things that have ever happened, all involved human beings. They're always involved whenever anything goes wrong from the very dawn of time. And think of this, an automated Nigel Cass, surely a step up on the human Nigel Cass. You could even program it to have a tiny, tiny circle of countries. And if you had an automated Prime Minister, you could program it to be occasionally in the goddamn country. So that's, again, just a step forward.
Again, I insist that there's never been a Prime Minister, Andy. I've never seen him, I've never heard of him. The only times I ever hear what the Prime Minister does is when nothing happens.
I mean, it has reached the point where, and I've thought this for a long time, we would be better off if the Prime Minister was a watermelon. I think we'd all be happy with that. We'd all know where we stood.
You hear him being praised for his diplomatic skills all the time, but the best mark of diplomacy is when nothing happens. So good diplomacy is indistinguishable from him doing absolutely nothing.
You are to the moment. 4,000 new dream jobs for everyone. All I can say, Alice, is that I'm very glad that my children studied drama at school, because that has set them up for life in modern Britain. That is the one core skill they need, the ability to pretend that they are living happy and fulfilled lives, that they have jobs that are worth doing, and that they're making the planet a better place, and that they control their own destinies, and that they have even a parody of a private life, and that they can smile without crying. That's what drama teaches them to do. Crucial skills in this day and age. Of course, it's not just the jobs that have been technologicalised beyond all recognition. It is also all reality. Thanks once again to Optic. According to Blue, the Optic system is now the most secure it's ever been. And, well, of course, it's so convenient, Optic, isn't it? It saves us so much time and hassle trying to exist. has hacked into my soul and now basically everything but the thought. But at least I don't have to type "where's my nearest coffee shop" into a search engine. At least I don't have to wait.
Suspect reported in your area, potentially armed and hostile.
Not frittering away my
Monitoring for unusual activity.
Optic is so secure, Andy. It's more secure than a teenage girl with a magazine. It's more secure than a comedian with a drinking problem. It's more secure than
I had them.
Finally, before we go
Where did they
today, bug off to the Prime Minister, who has once again here in London. I remember back in the day, Alice, when our Prime Ministers were either incompetent or crooked.
Control,
but
I can't
not
see the
both at
suspect.
once.
Please advise.
Actually, no, I can't remember them being both at once. But impressive triple.
Proceed. Ramming the suspect.
I'm pretty sure there must be a spare space station knocking around the way to entertain himself for the rest of the time. Can we crowdfund it? Tell me, let's make a cryptocurrency out of something and crowdfund it that way. What have you got spare? Jelly beans? Are they still legal?
He's away so often, Andy. I'm starting to think he doesn't like the country.
That is all from the bug
Control.
today. Fly away,
Let's put out an APW.
Well done.
We're getting nowhere here.
Emergencies are never welcome. But what if, when you dial 999, no one answers the call? Operator shortages and unreliable automated systems have been blamed for a number of deaths this year alone. Visit GBB as we look at the system and why it is failing to come to the rescue.
The bug. Objective voice of objection for a most objectionable bug. Hello, Bugsters. Welcome to The Bug, the comedy show that holds up the Medusa of satire to the already immovably concrete face of modern Britain. I'm Andy, I bench 480, and I can crack a 3.5 just by looking at it. Callum, what is reality? Alice, what do you bench?
I bench body weights.
Right.
Well, not my body weight.
Okay.
Body weight of a baby.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to give that kind of detail.
Just very impressive. People usually go, where did you get that baby?
You are listening to The Bug.
In this week's Truth News, according to an official poll, 98% of Londoners are very happy with CTOS. And I am not sure that I
Emergency call. Possible hostile at your location.
In pursuit. I repeat, we are in pursuit.
Oxygen was better than breathing a fog of raw liquid feces. And they expect us to